Hey guys, well, what a wonderful morning it is. COVID-19 and all of that is raging outside, but in my cabin I am fine. And I guess first off, I'm looking very rough, aren't I? I'm kind of hair everywhere at the moment, it's all sticking out. But I figured with all of COVID-19 going on, I may as well just let it all go. When do you ever get a chance to not go to work and not be presentable? So who the hell cares? Now, what have I been doing? So, in my last video, you obviously saw that I unfortunately lost my LTE Rambler at the top of a tree. Well, the good news is Mother Nature decided to release it. And look what we have here. We have a Rambler. And I am so happy to get this model back. Now, it's worth noting, in the previous video, I was not so sure quite why or what had gone wrong, and I actually thought that the canopy had blown off and gone into the prop. And obviously if this fin comes off, instant spin down it goes. But closer analysis of the footage, plus looking at what actually happens, I actually think it was a much more elementary issue. If you remember from the footage, and I'll show you again here, I launched the model from the launch ramp, which, you know, great, it works. But the thing is, what it meant is I had a GoPro sitting up here. And I actually think that what happened is the force of the ramp going forwards shifted the GoPro back ever so slightly, because I recall when I went up in the air saying, feels a little bit tail heavy. But, you know, the flight controller, everything was keeping it going, no problem. But what was quite telling is just before I crashed, I had just done a roll and a loop. And my suspicion is that the GoPro, first followed by the loop, had fallen back a little bit. And then when I did a roll, it just kind of gave enough force on this canopy to lift it up. Now what would actually happen there is if this canopy blew up, and this was not attached to the model when we picked it up, if this canopy detached, I suspect there would have been a massive influx of air into here. The CG, because the GoPro was now completely ill-secured, the GoPro flew out. In fact, I haven't got my GoPro back, it's in a field somewhere. But the combination of that, a suddenly massively rearward CFG, the back fin came off. So the net result is the back fin got a little bit chopped up in the crash, and the plane ended up at the top of a tree. So I actually don't think that situation would have occurred in this model had I not been using the launch ramp. Had I just lugged it into the air, there just wouldn't have been enough force on that GoPro to shift it backwards. But a 0 to 100 mile acceleration in 1 second, well, I think the camera pretty much stayed still. Now, wherever I've got my canopy out, there we go. Right, so, about the model. Now, one of the things about this model, everyone looks at and goes, oh, it's a copy of the Zod Dart. Well, first off, it's not really a copy. To my understanding, the designer who designed the Zod Dart is the same designer who designed the Rambler. And if, according to internet rumors, I've no idea if this is correct, but apparently they had some disagreements about how the model should go, so they went different directions. And the Rambler is the result of what the designer put together. Now, they're very different models. Whilst they look similar, the overall feel and how they fly is different. And one of the most telling things I feel on the Rambler, unlike the Zod Dart XL, the Zod Dart has this horrible issue is that the reflex, there's almost too much reflex built into it, with the result it becomes a constant speed aircraft. And this is something the Rambler doesn't really seem to suffer from. So whatever they've done, they got the reflex right, and that's fantastic news. You know, I do question, and in fact, prior to flying the model, my biggest concern that I had next was the size of the fin. Look how tiny that little thing is. I thought there's never going to be enough sort of vertical fin to stop this thing fishtailing and doing all sorts of rubbish. But surprisingly, it's pretty good. There was very little wagging of it, and I suspect what it is, you'll notice on here, if you can just see, you've got these horizontal bars, and they're all over the wings and things. and I suspect that the efficiency of the tail is being improved because the air is not managing to spill over the edge of it. Effectively, effectively what a winglet does is it increases the perceived height of or length of the wing, and this is just a vertical wing. So putting that little winglet on effectively just increases the length as if it was another couple of centimeters higher. So in some ways, what's happened is the designer's achieved the goal by doing that. Now, what else do we have? We have, I'll pop this off so you can see, a massively cavernous bay. I've got a Furious F35 in here. You know, couldn't be simpler to install it. You got a great big speed controller. It's I've got a Sunny Sky motor. In fact, I actually changed my motor to the Sunny Sky. The plug-and-play model I got had one of these cheap Chinese Sunny Sky clones on it, and it just, it didn't run smooth. And quite often, unfortunately, that is the case. So I swapped mine out to a Sunny Sky, which was the same spec. Does the job fine. In terms of the bay, obviously there's tons of space in here. You've got these little thumb screws, and we just see that there's a thumb screw there, so that you can dismantle the wing within a matter of minutes, really, if you go to that effort. I haven't done that. I've kind of not put little joiners and things on, but I could if I wanted to. My bay, which you'll notice I've got Gorilla Glue and all sorts of rubbish on it. In fact, I've partially laminated it because I've had to do such an extensive foam repair on it post my incident in the tree. Boom, that clips back on there. Now, out here, we have two pre-formed bays. We've got one there and one there. So I've got a Crossfire in one, and I've got my VTX in the other. And then, beyond that, the only thing I'm doing that's non-standard, LTE provide a grill for the front here, and one of them takes a GoPro mount, and the other one was just a blank plate with nothing on it. I suspect for fixed wing flyers. Now, the problem I had is that if you go for the blank plate one, well, you can't put a camera up board, and if you go for the GoPro one, well, you have to put a GoPro up front, and that's not a big issue. But my incident with the GoPro going back and the fact that I tend to launch these things off the ramp made me realize that actually I'd far rather put a split on. So I've mounted and got, oh, can we see it there? I've designed up a little mount for my RunCam split, which is sitting over here. In fact, there's a new iteration of it busy printing over there, and I've got a grill over here. Now, I will pop these designs up in Thingiverse with links down on the bottom, so if you wanted to do a similar set of mount, you can. It, in my opinion, just works better and has one very, very big advantage. Now, the Rambler has this massive, massive battery pack. Now look here where my battery is. Now, when I had a GoPro up front, I couldn't put more than a 3000 milliamp battery pack in here, which, and I couldn't, because the CG gets pushed right forward because of the weight of the GoPro on this end. So that left me with an option. To put a bigger battery in, I'd have to put tail weight in. Now, if I do a split, well, suddenly I've got a 14,000 milliamp lithium ion pack sitting here, which is going to be ample juice for this thing to fly. It will cruise for, cracky, I imagine, well over an hour on that. And you know what? Pop that in and it hits the CG pretty well. So, without adding any weight at the back, I've kind of achieved a massive, massive power sort of increase. And I could also go for a lighter battery and slide it further forwards. There's ample space here. But right now, that's kind of going to do its job. What else? What else do you want to know? I plugged the GPS up top. This little cap. It's something they're missing on the kit, which I think should have been there. They provide a mount point for the GPS with a flat panel up here, but no way to cover the GPS. And I just happened to had it was from a Zod, is it a Talon or something like that? These little GPS covers. So I just plugged that over the top, and I've got a GPS under there. Does the job. What else? It's a fantastic model. It flew so well, and I cannot wait to get out and fly it again. If I'm honest, I'm ready to buy another one of these straight off. If they become available on, I think Get FPV is about the only place that seems to have intermittent stock, I'll be buying another because it is fantastic. It's really, really good. And if you're in line for it, consider one of these because it really is very good. Anyway, guys, that's pretty much all I can tell you. It's a fantastic model. The files will be on Thingiverse before long, and hopefully, well, in fact, to be honest, we've just been grounded for 3 months here in the UK with this restrictions. We have 12 weeks that we are meant to stay at home. So I think it may be 12 weeks before this gets into the air again, which is a real shame, but it is what it is. Anyway, cheers guys, enjoy.